My friend destroyed her wedding by having a quickie with the groom's uncle 30 minutes before the ceremony. I was the one who found them. I was the one who told the groom. And I am the one who has spent 6 months being called a traitor by a woman who asked me to hold her bouquet while she walked into a room and detonated her own life. My friend Rochelle got married on a Saturday in June. 200 guests. A vineyard venue that cost more than my car. A dress with a 12-foot train that required 2 people to carry and a third to spot for stairs. I was a bridesmaid. Third bridesmaid. Which in wedding hierarchy means you hold things, you stand where you are told, and you smile in photos where you will later be cropped out for the frame on the mantle. The groom was Adam. Nice guy. Quiet. Worked in finance. Loved Rochelle in the visible, uncomplicated way of a man who had found the person he wanted to stop looking for and was content to stop. His uncle was Derek, 51, Adam's mother's younger brother, divorced twice. He had the tan and the confidence of a man who leases German automobiles and has opinions about bourbon that nobody asked for, but everyone receives. He danced at the rehearsal dinner the way divorced men dance at weddings, with the energy of someone performing Freedom for an audience of people who remember when he was married. 30 minutes before the ceremony, I was in the bridal suite. Rochelle was finished. Hair, makeup, dress, 12-foot train fanned across the floor. She said, "Can you hold my bouquet? I need 2 minutes." I said, "For what?" She said, "Bathroom." She handed me the bouquet. Peonies and roses. $300 of petals. 2 minutes passed. 5. The coordinator knocked. 15 minutes to processional. 10 minutes passed. The coordinator was pacing. The bridesmaids were texting Rochelle. No response. I went to find her. The women's bathroom was empty. The hallway was empty. Near the back of the venue there was a storage room. The door was closed. I heard sounds. I opened the door because my friend was missing 15 minutes before her wedding, and 200 people were sitting in vineyard chairs waiting for a bride who was not in the bathroom where she said she was going. Derek and Rochelle, in the storage room, against a shelf of catering supplies. His jacket was on the floor. Her dress was compromised in a way I will describe only as architecturally restructured. Rochelle said, "Close the door." I closed the door. Not because she told me to, because I needed the door between me and what I had just seen to process the fact that my friend was with the groom's 51-year-old uncle 30 minutes before she was supposed to walk an aisle toward the groom's face. I stood in the hallway holding $300 of peonies and a decision that was going to end someone's wedding regardless of which direction I carried it. I found Adam in the groom's suite. He was adjusting his tie. He was smiling. The specific smile of a man about to marry the woman he loves and believes she is in a bathroom holding a bouquet. I said, "Rochelle is in the storage room with Derek." He said, "What do you mean with Derek?" I said, "I mean with Derek." His face traveled from confusion to processing to understanding to the specific pale stillness of a man whose tie is suddenly irrelevant because the knot he was tying is not the knot that just came undone. He said, "You're sure?" I said, "I opened the door." He walked to the storage room. He opened the door. I heard his voice say one sentence. "The wedding is off." 200 guests were told, due to unforeseen circumstances, the ceremony has been postponed. Postponed. Because the bride was found with the groom's uncle in a storage room is not a sentence a wedding coordinator is trained to deliver. Rochelle found me in the parking lot, crying, dress still compromised. She said, "Why did you tell him?" I said, "Because he was about to marry you." She said, "I was going to end it with Derek after the wedding." After the wedding. She was going to use the ceremony as the line between the affair and the marriage, as though vows are a reset button and the thing that happened before I do is erased by the saying of it. I said, 30 minutes before your wedding is not a mistake. It's a decision. You got dressed, you did your hair, you put on the dress, you handed me the bouquet, you walked to the storage room. Every step was a choice. She said, "You ruined my wedding." I said, "You ruined your wedding." I just opened the door. She has not spoken to me since. 6 months. Adam moved to another city. He texted me once. "Thank you for telling me." Nobody else would have. Derek was banned from family events. Adam's mother, Jillian, has not spoken to her brother since. Then Nora, the bartender at the venue, pulled me aside in the parking lot. She said, "The storage room. That wasn't the first time." She said, "I've worked this venue for 3 years. Derek has been here 4 times. 4 different weddings. Each time he's been with someone from the wedding party." She said, "Derek doesn't come to weddings for the ceremony. He comes for the access. A venue full of dressed up, emotional, slightly drunk people in a building with empty rooms and closed doors. He has a pattern. 4 weddings, 4 storage rooms, 4 women who were not Rochelle. Derek is not a man who made a mistake with his nephew's bride. He is a man who attends weddings as a hunting ground." My friend Hala said, "4 weddings? That's not an affair. That's a system." Nora met me at a coffee shop. She told me Derek shows up alone. No date. He arrives early, positions himself at the bar, watches the room. He picks someone in the wedding party. Always someone who looks a little overwhelmed, a little emotional, someone who has been running around all day doing things for the bride and has not had anyone ask them how they are doing. He buys them a drink and then another, and he compliments them in a way that feels private and specific. Nora said he waits for the window, the 30 minutes before the ceremony, the hour after the first dance, the moment when everyone is distracted. He does not rush it. He builds a small connection over the first hours, and when the chaos peaks, he finds that person, suggests they step away from the noise, just for a minute, and there are always empty rooms in a venue. Nora told me about the last wedding before Rochelle's. Derek spent the reception with a young woman from the bridal party. Near the end of the night, she saw them walk toward the back hallway together. 20 minutes later, Derek came out alone, straightening his shirt. A few minutes after that, the young woman came out of a coat closet. Her face was red and her eyes were wet, and she went straight to the bathroom and did not come back out for a long time. Nora told the venue manager. He said, "Unless someone files a complaint, it's not our business." Nora looked at me and said, "That's why I told you. Because you actually did something. You opened the door. Nobody else opens the door." I said, "Would you be willing to tell this to someone in Derek's family?" She said, "I'll tell it once. To the right person. But I'm not getting dragged into family drama. I just pour drinks." Then Derek called me. Unknown number. His voice was warm, calm, concerned. He said, "I heard you've been asking around about me. I just wanted to check in. Make sure you're doing okay." He sounded like a friend calling to see how you are holding up. For 5 seconds, his voice was so smooth that I almost questioned 6 months of evidence and instinct. That is how good he was. Then he said, "Rochelle is worried about you. She told me you've been reaching out to people from from the venue, Rochelle told him. Rochelle, who had not spoken to me in 6 months. Rochelle, who called me a traitor and went silent. She was talking to Derek about me. The woman who said it was a mistake was still in contact with the mistake. Hala said, "He called you? That's not a check-in. That's a warning." And Rochelle told him, "You need to move fast before he builds a wall around the story." I called Jillian, Adam's mother. I said, "I was a bridesmaid at Adam's wedding. I have something you need to hear. It's about your brother." She said, "I haven't spoken to Derek since June. Whatever you have to say, I'm not sure I want to hear it." I said, "That's exactly why you need to." She said, "Fine, I'll meet you, but I'm not promising anything." Then Rochelle texted me, "First communication in 6 months. I heard you're trying to make this into something bigger than it was. It was my mistake. Mine. Stop dragging other people into it." I typed back, "It wasn't just your mistake, and you know it." No response. Silence after a sentence like that is not disagreement. It is recognition. I sat across from Jillian at a restaurant. She said, "I agreed to meet you because Adam trusts you. That is the only reason." I told her everything Nora told me. 4 weddings, the access, the pattern, the timing, the young woman with red eyes, the venue manager who said it was not his business. I kept my voice flat. I gave her facts like setting plates on a table. I said, "Derek didn't stumble into your son's wedding and make a one-time mistake. He's been doing this for years." Jillian did not interrupt once. Then she said, "Are you doing this because you care about my son, or because you want to feel right about what you did at the wedding?" I paused. Then I said, "Both. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't both, but the pattern is real whether I feel right or not." Something in her eyes changed. Not softness, recognition. Then her voice got older, like she was pulling words up from somewhere she had not gone in a long time. She said, "When Derek was 30, he got into trouble at a family reunion. My cousin's daughter. She was 22. My mother handled it. She told me Derek had too much to drink and got confused. I believed her because I was 19 and he was my brother." She said, "I have spent 20 years telling myself that was a one-time thing." I said, "The bartender will talk to you." Once. She said, "I need to hear it from someone with no reason to lie." Meanwhile, Rochelle posted online. It did not name me, but it was obviously about me. Someone who couldn't stand to see me happy. Still trying to control the story. I've moved on, but she refuses to. Every sentence was carefully written to sound like a woman being harassed by a former friend. None of it mentioned Derek. None of it mentioned the storage room. None of it mentioned that she was still in contact with the man she called a mistake. Every day I spent building a case against Derek was a day Rochelle spent building a case against me. The narrative was being written without me, and the person writing it was the same woman who handed me her bouquet and walked into a storage room and then called me a traitor for opening the door. The next evening, Nora, Jillian, and I were on a phone call. Nora told it the same way she told it to me. Calm, specific, factual, 4 weddings, how Derek arrived alone, how he found someone in the wedding party, the coat closet, the young woman, the venue manager. When Nora finished, the line went quiet. Then Jillian said, "Thank you. I need a day." 4 days of silence. Then Jillian called. Her voice was harder, more certain. She said, "I spoke to my cousin, her daughter. She's 38 now. She told me what actually happened. It wasn't confusion. It wasn't drinking. My mother covered for him. My mother told the whole family a version that protected Derek and left that girl alone with what happened to her." She said, "I called 3 other family members. 2 of them had stories. A comment here. A hand on a knee there. Things people noticed and filed away and never connected because nobody connected them. Because we were told not to." She said she had written Derek a physical letter. She named the venue, the weddings, the family reunion. She told him he is no longer welcome at any family event. She told him she is informing every family member of why. She said, "I mailed it this morning. I also called Adam. He knows everything now." I said, "How did Adam take it?" Jillian was quiet. Then she said, "He was quiet for a long time." Then he said, "She opened the door. He meant you. The same door. The same handle I can still feel in my palm. The same choice that cost me a friendship and 6 months of being called a traitor. But now it did not just end a wedding. It cracked open 20 years of silence that an entire family had agreed to keep without ever saying so out loud." Adam texted me that evening. "My mom told me everything. I'm glad you didn't stop at the storage room. Thank you for being the person who opens doors." I read it 3 times. I held the phone against my chest. Rochelle never contacted me again. The post stayed up. Some friends drifted back. Some did not. Derek did not respond to Jillian's letter. 2 family members called him directly. He blocked all 3 of them. Jillian wrote me, "Blocking us is the first honest thing he's done. It means he knows we're right." Hala said one evening, "Do you still think about the bouquet?" I said, "Every time I see peonies." She said, "You held the flowers, then you held the truth. Most people would have put both of them down. Some doors you open and wish you had not. Some doors you open and the whole hallway changes. I opened both. I would open them again."